we made a strong effort and really made a central effort to reinvigorate civics education in this state. It's become a lost art across the country. A lot of times people are graduating without having really any sense of what it means to be an American, no foundation about the principles that make the country great. And the way I view it is you're going to be doing a lot of different things if you go through our K-12 system. Some will go to university, some will go to state college, some will go to apprenticeship, some will just go into the workforce. There's a whole host of paths that people will take, and we want to encourage people to do the path that they like the best. But no matter what path, everyone's going to be called upon to exercise the duties of being an American citizen. And that means something, and that's important. And so we've tried to elevate the art of civics and citizenship in a meaningful way. Now, some of that is, quite frankly, what we've done at New College to make sure that this is a liberal arts college that is fulfilling the classical mission of the university, pursuing truth, elevating merit, and ultimately preparing these students to be citizens of this republic. We've also done things at universities like the Hamilton Center Institute at UF, Adam Smith Center at Florida International. These are basically hotbeds of Western civilization thinking, classical thinking, things that, again, have fallen out of favor in the elite academy over recent decades. But we've done a lot on K through 12. And we've had some more requirements for more civics instruction, and that's important. But, we can sit there and say, you got to know the Constitution, you got to know the Federalist Papers. But, what are they actually being taught in the classroom? And the reality is a lot of teachers, particularly younger teachers, if you're going through universities in this country, you're not graduating with a very strong background, most likely, in the founding of the country and all the key debates that shape the institutions. That's viewed as passé amongst that group of academics. Now, that's changing in Florida, but in most parts of the country. Oh, and incidentally, they just did a college rankings in the Wall Street Journal, and what they did was they said, listen, you have legacy institutions. Look, you have some of these institutions that are older than our country, right? Harvard, Yale, these places. So they've got all this prestige that's been built up over the years, but the question is, what actually are students getting? Yeah, you're getting prestige and legacy prestige, but what? So they said, what about commitment to free speech? What about making sure that you have a good environment, free exchange of ideas, no indoctrination, merit over identity politics, all the things that I think most people think universities should be doing. And so it's very good criteria. And in that criteria, when you rank the universities across the country, they rank the University of Florida #1 in America on that criteria. They ranked Florida State #7 in America on that criteria. But the reality is we're doing that work, but that's not traditionally what's been happening around the country. So it's okay, if you want to teach civics, how we make sure the teachers are armed. So we created a Civic Seal of Excellence program. It's 50 hours of instruction. Teachers can go through, and not just civics teachers, history teachers, English teachers, whatever, we want you to go through. And you're getting real good instruction. We got people from Hillsdale College, Herod, all these people to come and do this course, and the teachers get a $3,000 bonus when they go through. And what are they doing? They're learning about basically everything our founders knew when they went in and did all this stuff. They're doing that, and so now you have a great foundation where you can inspire these students. And so we're really glad that we were able to do that. But one of the big things that we have done in Florida is reinvigorate speech and debate. When you became education commissioner, what did we had very few districts even had it, maybe 5 or 10 out of 67 counties didn't even have this. Now, today, because of what we've done, all 67 counties have robust speech and debate programs, and we do competitions and we do all this stuff. But it's important because, especially in the age of these smartphones and texting and social media, you got to put that down. You got to be able to stand on your 2 feet, and you got to be able to make an argument on an issue. You got to think about counter arguments. You got to think about people on the other side. How do you persuade somebody of a point? It's really become a lost art in most of our K through 12 system across this country. And you know, maybe you get a topic and maybe you're somebody that hates Second Amendment and you get a topic and you have to defend Second Amendment right. Maybe you're going to get out of your comfort zone and have to question some of your own assumptions and maybe see things a little bit differently. So there's a lot of value in critical thinking. There's a lot of value. And I'll tell you, one of the things we did in Florida that's been super successful, and we were the first state, no cell phones in the classroom. We actually... You know, we did this a few years ago, and when we announced it, MSNBC said that it was akin to fascism to not have cell phones. Now even the liberal states are doing it because it's obvious, and it's, first of all, from a student perspective, you know, just being mired on that, you're not going to be able to have attention. But also from a teacher perspective, would you want, if you're a college student, to go into teaching, if you're just going to sit there and basically talk to a wall because all these kids are on their phones? No. I mean, so it's not good for teachers. It's not good for recruiting good people. So we're able to do that. And I'll tell you, it's only going to get worse if we don't put our foot down with this technology. Social media has not been good for kids. Let's just be clear about that. Facebook has made a lot of money off it. They've made a lot of money. A lot of these companies have made a lot of money. It has not made the experience of growing up and all that better. Now, there's positives to it. I'm not going to deny that, but there's been a lot of negatives, particularly in education. So no phones in the classroom, I think, is good. Now they're going to be doing artificial intelligence, and what is the danger of that is students are going to think that they're just relieved of any responsibility to think for themselves. Just plug it into a machine. Let the LLM tell you all these things. First of all, I got news for you guys. You know, who is running those chat bots and those LLMs? You know, it's big tech companies. They do not have your best interests at heart. They do not see the world the way that you do. And I don't care how efficient an LLM or a machine is in going through, whatever the data set that entity is crunching is what they're going to end up producing. So garbage in the data set, garbage out in terms of the answers that they're doing. And if you know anything about, you know, our founding fathers, they were very wise about accurately identifying the flaws in human nature. That's why they built the government that we have with checks and balances, separation of powers. Madison said that if men were angels, no government would be necessary. Madison said if angels were to govern men, then you wouldn't need any internal constraints on government. But that's not the world we live in. Don't think that somehow a tech overlord is somehow immune to the flaws in human nature. If they have the ability to control so much of society by manipulating these data sets, of course they're going to do it. Do you not remember COVID when they were censoring the truth? I mean, we literally did a thing, and I was the only one willing to do it at the time. This is, you know, pretty early in COVID. I get some of these experts who were actually speaking out. There was like 6 in the world that were willing to speak out at the time. And I got Oxford, Stanford, Harvard, and they were ostracized by their colleagues. I was like, should a 5-year-old kid in kindergarten be wearing a mask all day? No, there's no basis. Google censored that video. You know, we had it up. We had people. It was a nice round table. They censored it. They censored a lot of speech. They censored a lot about, I mean, just think about it. One of the most important debates that we could possibly have as a country in terms of what has impacted people more broadly than the COVID response, and yet they wanted to short-circuit debate. So the idea that somehow this artificial intelligence is just going to be so great for students, I think there are way more perils than positives, and we're doing it right by making people think for themselves, by making them pay attention with a technology-free environment, no distractions, and actually learn. You know, that worked for many thousands of years very well there. I actually saw, you know, you don't know what to believe when you see, but someone posted something online. It was an exam in like Kentucky for like an 8th grade graduation. And I'm reading these questions and I'm like, I mean, it was so much higher, than what we've seen now. So we're working hard to correct that. So we're proud of what we've done, with the technology. So I do think it's important. Put aside all the stuff about you need to know civics and all, just to be able to stand on your feet, have a debate, see things, have your assumptions questioned. That's one of the problems with these universities across the country. When they're imposing orthodoxy, these students are never challenged on the assumption, just repeat party line. And you need to have your assumptions challenged. You need to think, critically about the positions you're taking, about the arguments you're making. So we've been able to do that, and it's now been a really big rip-roaring success, our Civics and Debate initiative. So since we've done this, we've had over 330 new speech and debate teams, all 67 counties, with over 4,200 student competitors taking part in our competition. During the first year of the initiative, my first year as governor, we had 11,600 students in Florida that competed. That number rose to 14,300 1 year later. In the past year, we've had over 430 students participate in our Speech and Debate Initiative State Championship program, which is really significant. And we think we're going to end up with over 600 for this year's, which, oh, by the way, this spring, 2026 Speech and Debate is going to be held right here at New College of Florida. So we're here to say that we're proud of what we've been able to do to facilitate speech and debate amongst our high school students, but we're also here to announce that we are going to be naming the prize for the winner of the speech and debate in honor of Charlie Kirk. So people will be able to win a Kirk Prize for winning speech and debate. And part of the reason we wanted to do that is because the whole mission of Turning Point was really, there wasn't, said not a lot of people were willing to go at the time. And I think part of it is like, yeah, you're going into the belly of the beast and you're going to bring conservative ideas to these liberal campuses. Good luck with that, right? A lot of people are just like, but, that was really important. And I think what happened over the years, and it's obviously grown a lot, was, some of these students get up there and they do their talking points, and you'd have somebody like Charlie batting them down. And none of these people had maybe had any pushback to any of this stuff before, and now all of a sudden they're doing it. Now, I know some people, you could tell them 2 + 2 = 4, and if they don't believe it, they're just not going to. I get that, but I think it causes people to actually have to think. And I know that Charlie was he was beating the bushes in Florida like for a long time before he became really well known, developed a big following in this state, particularly with a lot of contributors in different parts of the state, even lived in this community here in Sarasota for a time. So we were proud to be able to do that in memory, but it's not just a prize in and of itself, which is good. You win the championship, you get a good pat on the back. We wanted it to be even more meaningful to that. So when we have the championships on April 5th, 2026 in New College, we're proud to announce that it's not just going to be a trophy that you get. Because of private donations to the Florida Education Foundation as well as Florida Prepaid, we are going to be able to award the winner of the Kirk Prize a $50,000 scholarship. The runner-up in our speech and debate championship will receive a $25,000 scholarship. Semi-finalists will receive $15,000 each, and the 4 remaining quarterfinalists will each receive a $10,000 scholarship. And before you say $10,000 isn't much with high, in Florida it's a lot because our tuition's the same as when I took off, is $6,300. And you actually can use this, so our prepaid and all this, obviously we want people to stay in state, especially if you're a good debater, but you can take it where you want to take it. And I think we're confirming, I'll make it happen, but if you, so say you win the $50,000 and you go to University of Florida, which is not easy to get into, or you go to New College or whatever, and then you're like, you know what, I want to do master's or law school or something like that. You're not going to spend $50,000 in undergrad in Florida, most likely, so you should be able to apply that to graduate. And so we'll make sure that that happens as well. So this is a pretty big deal. Additionally, thanks to the Ronald Reagan Foundation, both the winner and the runner-up of Florida's debate championships will receive invitations to attend the National Ronald Reagan Presidential Debate in California. Then the Ronald Reagan Presidential Debate is inspired by President Reagan's legacy of principled leadership, civil discourse, and effective communication. The debate there emulates the style of presidential debates of old, emphasizing practical communication skills like civility, personality, humor, and storytelling. I don't know anyone's been able to do that as good as the Gipper. It's a unique one-on-one style debate designed to blend civic knowledge with persuasive rhetorical delivery. And I think that students that have been able to do that have really loved doing that. So that's a big deal. I know there's a lot of students that were going to be eager to compete anyways. This is even more incentive to get involved. I mean, you literally, if you have you're a silver tongue orator, you go in, you win it. I mean, you have school paid for. You don't have to worry about it at that point. So that's really good. I want to thank everyone that's involved. We are also today announcing a partnership with Turning Point. We want to make sure that all high schools in Florida, anybody in a high school that wants to start a state Club America chapter will be able to do so. There shouldn't be any impediments to that, and certainly no discrimination. We're not going to allow that. And any school or school district that does try to discriminate, that man right there will probably first send you a nastygram and then drop the hammer. So that will happen. And so this was founded earlier this year, but Club America is a new student-led organization designed to mobilize high schoolers to advocate for American values, freedom, free enterprise, and limited government. And obviously, Charlie started out as one of the lone voices on university campuses talking about those back in the day. So I look forward to seeing more high school students, get involved. When you have something as tragic as a public assassination of somebody who is just engaging in debate, I mean, it's a really negative commentary on the state of America. I mean, I don't want to generalize too much, but the idea that this guy would think that somehow it would be acceptable response to ideas you disagree with is really troubling. And that's not what this country is about. And I know it was a real tragic thing. I know it was very devastating for a lot of people. But that said, when this happened, people who didn't know who Charlie Kirk was are watching his videos. You're starting to see more young people take an interest and be educated, and now they want to get involved. So they've had a huge groundswell of interest ever since that tragic day, and I know that they're going to make sure that they have the infrastructure to help accommodate all the young people that want to get involved. It's very easy to be apathetic when you're young. There's a lot of stuff going on. I mean, I can tell you when I was in high school, this wasn't something that I would have been doing or didn't do or whatnot, and maybe that's good or bad depending on what else you're involved with. But I do see a renewed interest, and so we want to make sure that we're providing the pathway if people want to do this, that they have a pathway to do it. And again, we're not going to tolerate any administrators or school districts who are trying to put the kibosh on it just because they represent ideas that they may not like. Okay, and finally, we're here to also highlight what Florida is doing for Commemorating America 250. I signed an executive order, I think probably at the end of last year, to prepare the state for July of 2026, which will be marked 250 years since the Declaration of Independence. We've already done things like I got this massive, amazing George Washington statue loaned to us from Mount Vernon. We put it in the state capitol in Tallahassee. So you walk in, you want to go to the governor's office, you got to go by G-Dub right there. It's very nice. And we're proud of that. We brought a Jefferson statue to Jefferson County up in North Florida. We brought a Franklin statue to Franklin County in the Panhandle. We're working on a Hamilton. You know, the thing is like these people around the country have really revolted, definitely the woke left, revolted against America's history. And so they've been taking down statues of founding fathers. We're putting them up, and we're proud to do that. But one of the things it's done is it's kind of given us an opportunity, because we can buy these things that have been mothballed in other states at a discount. So Alexander Hamilton on sale from the state of Colorado or wherever. So we're doing that. We'll have Hamilton in Hamilton County in North Florida, father of the Constitution, James Madison. We're going to do a statute there. Monroe County is the Florida Keys. So we're going to definitely do that. You know, maybe we'll do Key West. It'll be interesting to see the response there, but we're going to do it. And we just got to keep going. So we're leaning into it because, one, I just think it's something that we should commemorate. You know, the founders of this country, when they signed the Declaration of Independence, it is not the equivalent of modern day someone just emoting on social media. It was very meaningful. When they signed, they pledged their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor. And they were people that had a lot to lose. These are not people on the fringes of society in the colonies. These were leaders. These were successful people. And they knew that by signing their name, that John Hancock on the Declaration, the penalty for failure was 100% death. And that's what would have happened to all of them. And Benjamin Franklin said, we either hang together or hang separately. And that's exactly what would have happened. So they had a lot of skin in the game. And they were able to do this. And they knew that free governments had been tried throughout human history. They studied all of those different examples. They drew lessons from them, but really there was only one lesson that really mattered, and it was this: every single one of them had failed throughout human history. So they viewed it as their responsibility to determine, and our responsibility, can people actually govern themselves? Can you have a society based on the idea that our rights are God-given, not government-granted? That we have a rule of law, not the rule of individual men? That we have government that's limited to its core functions? And that was a question that they were attempting to answer in 1776 and 1787 when they did the Constitution. But they were also very wise to the idea that just simply doing a good declaration, just simply doing a good Constitution was not going to be enough. When Franklin walked out of the Philadelphia Convention Hall, 1787, you know, it was in secret. No one knew what they were doing. Someone asked him, did you give us a republic or a monarchy? And he said, I gave you a republic, but only if you can keep it. Because they understand you can have the best Constitution, the best declaration. They don't run on autopilot. They require every generation of Americans to cultivate, to defend, and ultimately to preserve this great inheritance that we have. And I think America 250 is an example for us, an opportunity for us to really make that very make a big impression on our young people in particular, so that they understand what it means to be an American and how lucky they are. So so we're doing a lot, and we're going to continue to do a lot. We're also partnering with the U.S. Department of Education under the Trump administration to further some of these initiatives. And it's not just a press release. There's real support here. So I'm excited to say that a number of our institutions have received grants from the U.S. Department of Education to commemorate America 250. Florida State, $4.7 million for their Institute for Governance and Civics to start programs about the Founding Fathers for students and to fund civic-minded research projects for educators. Florida International, our Adam Smith Center for Economic Freedom, awarded $2.3 million to teach the principles of the American tradition. University of North Florida, $2.1 million to fund a program designed to enhance civics education for 9th through 12th grade teachers in Duval County Public Schools. through inquiry-driven professional development. New College of Florida, $1.8 million grant